Okay, and hello everybody, and I'm back with a repeating guest. So I have got Nico, technically to my left, but on the right for whatever. So Nico from Cereal Pleasures, as I've explained, and if you've not checked out Cereal Pleasures yet, I advertise it quite a lot in videos, so there's a free plug for Nico. And then I obviously got this wonderful lady, which is Kat from That Cat Chat. And if you've not checked out That Cat Chat yet, I'm very disappointed in you going on my naughty list for Christmas. I will not accept if you do not look at that. You can unsubscribe. I don't care.
Thank you. And I'll be sending an extra lump of coal for every single bad boy and girl.
Yeah. Also, keep a lookout on the Cat Chat, as we have a very important video which is going to be going up soon. I released a little bit of a preview on my channel only yesterday. So
already
go check that out.
people.
It's a little bit of a taster. But yeah, I'm looking forward to when that video is going to be up. I can't wait.
No pressure. It's fine.
So the reason why you're all gathered here today, and for those of you who are watching in the future, is I like to talk about haunted objects all the time on here. And as you know, I like to collect true crime memorabilia. And I think Nico knows a little thing or two about true crime memorabilia. I think, not that you could tell from the background and everything he has in his house and on his social media. But I like to talk about the subject on if there's any kind of materials, items, and so on, which can retain any kind of spiritual energy. Do they retain spiritual energy? Can spirits possibly haunt just people? Or can it be a mix of both? As I've spoke to Nico before in a past video, which was about 7 months ago, obviously, Nico, I know you've collected for a long time now. And we've spoken a little bit here and there about items which you may hold the belief that it may retain some kind of spiritual energy, or there may be something attached to them, what you feel off them, your emotions, so on. Do you think there could be any kind of truth in that with the objects which you may have? Do you think they contain any kind of energy whatsoever?
Oh, definitely. I've been collecting what's called memorabilia for about 25 years now. First, it was letters that I got from the killers themselves when I was corresponding with them when I was in prison myself. So I was corresponding with about 30 murderers, high-profile criminals around the world, whether it be Richard Ramirez or Doc Claux or Patrick Kearney or Arthur Shawcross. So I was getting letters from all those people, sometimes drawings, and each time that I got those letters between my hands, I could definitely feel some kind of vibration in the letters that I was holding, even in the envelope, the actual envelopes. I've always believed that objects, they carry a part of the souls of the persons who they have belonged to. I remember when I was a kid that I saw, I think it was a Hammer movie with Christopher Lee, and it was an obscure horror movie where it was about a collector, and he had the skull of the Marquis de Sade in his collection. And the skull of the Marquis de Sade would come alive and give him orders to kill, right? And starting from that idea of an object that belonged to a criminal, even if the Marquis de Sade has never been a criminal, but he spent most of his life in prison. I thought, when I was a kid, I was fascinated. I was like, wow, is there such objects on Earth? Is there objects that really carry the souls of the people that they belong to? And when I first heard about criminals and serial killers painting from jail, then I understood that it was a vessel for their soul.
Yeah.
So, first it was exchanging letters, drawing, sometimes paintings. I remember a portrait I did of Keith Jesperson, the happy face killer, that he gave to his aunt. And so I would exchange paintings with famous criminals, and always getting this vibe from the objects. And then there were also collectors of memorabilia who would write to me and ask me for art, or ask me even for shirts, prison shirts, stuff like that. I knew that there was a market out there for that, but I was also interested myself in collecting stuff, collecting hair. For example, I was writing to Issei Segawa, the Japanese cannibal, and he sent me nail clippings and pubes. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I would get, and that was way before it became a thing. Because
keratin.
Yeah, I'm talking about early 90s here,
Yeah.
and we were very few people actually collecting that, or it wasn't even a thing. There was only 3 or 4 people who were known for collecting or known for actually selling those kind of stuff online. Now there's many more, and people know more about that. But back in the days, it was quite uncommon. So yes, I built up over the years. I built up this collection of objects. I even went to places myself, such as Armin Maives' house, the German cannibal who cannibalized a person that he had met online. You remember that case from the early 2000s?
Yeah, the Cannibal Cafe.
Yeah, Cannibal
Kind of hard
Cafe.
to forget.
Yeah, exactly. And there's even a Rammstein song that was based on the actual case.
I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
And so going to those places, those haunted houses, those murder houses, if you're sensitive to that, you get the vibes. Definitely, it's like Aleister Crowley used to say about his mediums, because he used women as mediums. The women who were around him, they were his mediums to the outside world. And he compared it to radio waves. And if you connect your wavelength to the same wavelength, you get those vibes. And this is the vibes I got from those objects. All right, I don't even know where to start because there's so many. But I was talking about I was talking about Armin Maives. So let's start with that. Okay.
Seems fitting to start with.
Yeah, it seems fitting since we both seem to own a piece of Armin Maives.
Yeah, Jack, you have the red fabric that was in his slaughter room.
Indeed.
Here I have the actual hook from which he suspended his victim. What's his name? Sorry,
Burnt Brandes.
Yeah, Burnt Brandes, exactly. So it's one of the objects that I found in the abandoned house. I also found the freezer and the fridge and several torture instruments that he used, because believe it or not, the police, they said a few things, then they just brought them back in the abandoned mansion. And you have to understand that the mansion is in a very, very small village,
quite remote,
very remote location in the up the hills, in the middle of a forest. So except for a few urbexers who go there, nobody goes there, and nobody had the idea before me actually to actually get stuff from. So I was happy to find those objects.
You were lucky to find.
I was lucky to find those objects because it was
that should have been confiscated and kept in evidence lockers. It's really quite unbelievable that the police put them back there, complete with the police stickers to say it was police evidence at some point in time.
I always assumed because of the case, I would have thought they would have taken the hooks. I would have thought they'd taken.
Yeah. Speaking of the hook, it was 3 a.m. in the morning when I unscrewed it from the ceiling. And I'm not gonna lie, I really felt I was disturbing something.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not talking about fear, because fear is something that I have a hard time defining. I never really felt fear in my life, and people who do the stuff I do, usually they have a hard time knowing what fear is about. But I was feeling that I was disturbing something. And this hook, you see, Kat just made me the remark.
It looks like a screw eye that you can buy from any standard hardware store, and it's been welded to reinforce that so that it
you
can't
see the weld
open.
here.
So if you put too much weight on a screw eye hook, it will open because it's essentially just very strong wire.
Yeah.
So whoever, I don't know if Armin was a welder or if it was somebody that he knew, but I don't know how well you can see. But this here has been welded. Originally, it was just one single loop, but it's been welded shut. So you can see it's been reinforced. And I mean, the thread is pretty much undisturbed on it. So it was pretty well anchored into the ceiling. And, you know, it's an old house that was inherited from his parents.
Yeah.
You know?
So
good structure.
this hook I found in the smoking room. The smoking room was a room where his family used to smoke meat, okay, because they were farmers, so they would kill their own animals and smoke the meat. They had a special room to smoke the meat, and because of that, the walls in that room were covered with this carbon-like substance material. If you check the police photos online, you will definitely see what I'm talking about. And so this is scrapes that I got from around the hook. So it's pretty sure, knowing what happened in the room, that they were splattered with the victim's blood.
I'm pretty sure they're legit photos, even though I know that the supposedly the only because Armin obviously he filmed what he did. And it was like 2 hours or so worth of footage. There's
3 photos that were leaked about 10 or 15 years ago by ogrish.com. First when they came out, most people were like, no, they can't be real. Yeah, no, it's impossible. It's really well done, because you see the photos, you see that, you know, even big Hollywood productions, they don't do special effects like that.
No.
And you're like, okay, so you know that it's somebody actually butchering someone.
Yeah.
But since you don't see the face, you don't know if it's really him. And when I was in the house, I actually saw from the angle where the photos were taken, that it was actually the room. It was those 3 photos that were leaked. They really were, and I can guarantee that because I was there. I saw the same setup. And if you see those photos, if you have ever seen them, you will see a St. Andrew's cross behind Armin, where it was more for decoration, because
is that the one that's shaped like
it's shaped like
an X.
The cross was there. It was dismantled, but it was there
with police
stickers on them.
Like if you stand in the very same spot, it's eyes,
so,
in your mind you can see.
Exactly.
Yes.
I can testify that those 3 pictures are leaked from the Armin Maives tapes. I can certify that.
I just want to give a big shout out to the Rottenburg police for putting all that stuff back there.
Yeah, thank you to the Rottenburg
police work.
Many thanks to the Rottenburg police for letting us enjoy
who would have thought somebody would take those things?
Dankeschön, Polizei.
Yeah. Yeah, Dankeschön.
Those 2 objects, they for me, they have soul.
Yeah.
Right? They do have soul.
This one is actually suspended bodies. This one most likely has DNA of said bodies on it. So you can't dispute the energy that would come from them.
I also have tiles from the bathtub, from the bathroom, where his victim bled to death. You can actually see them for sale on my website.
My Brandes, he bled in the bathtub after having his gone.
Yeah.
Whilst he was just sat there just reading a Star Trek comic.
Yeah, Star Trek. Yeah. Exactly.
Crazy.
Live long and prosper.
Crazy.
Not in
I'm more
his
of a Star Wars fan, but
So another. Let's move to another object,
Yes.
if you agree. This here, it's a ring, as you can see, depicting a skull on it. Okay.
There we
This
go.
ring was given to me by author Sandra London, very famous author who amazing author who knew both Danny Rowling and Gerard Schaefer. So Danny Rowling, for those who don't know, he was the Gainesville Ripper. She helped him publish a book called The Making of a Serial Killer, and one of the most amazing books ever written by a serial killer. And the other person that she knew quite well was Gerard Schaefer, and this ring belonged to Gerard Schaefer. He gave it to Sandra when he was in prison. And the thing is, when he gave it to her, he told her that it was given to him by another serial killer in the prison where he was locked up. He didn't tell her who. So there's three or four possibilities. There's Ted Bundy, because Bundy was a long time cellmate. Not cellmate. They weren't really stationed on the same tier, but
they were in the same prison.
They were in the same prison as Schaefer. There's Otis Toole.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see Otis Toole wearing this. But
I don't see Ted Bundy wearing it, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
Feel Ted Bundy was.
Nah.
He's a bit too pussy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see Ted Bundy wearing this
sorry,
at
Ted.
all. Yeah, no, sorry, Ted. But the most probable other killer would be Gerard Stano. Stano was a killer from Florida too. So check him out on YouTube if you know.
The same name as well.
Too.
Solidarity.
Exactly. So this ring, even if it's not connected to a murder site, it's really interesting because it belonged to two different serial killers.
Wow.
So that's what makes it very unique in the murderabilia world.
I think what you need to remember is that, like, an item of murderabilia doesn't necessarily need to have been part of a crime scene or a murder scene.
No, definitely.
Anything can be charged with the energy of anyone,
for example,
depending on somebody's state of mind at the time. I mean, it's like those supernatural movies. Anything can be a conduit or a vessel for a spirit or an energy. It just, like, there's no rhyme or reason, really.
Exactly.
So it doesn't necessarily have to have been an item that was at the crime scene or that has DNA of somebody on it. But if it was in somebody's life at some point in time, then it can absolutely be a vessel for energy from that person.
Something else that might be interesting for the Spirit Box too. This you can actually find on Yana Gallery's site. It's fragments from Ted Bundy's car. It was taken in on the floor of the car. This is the famous Volkswagen that he used to lure his victims. It's the Volkswagen itself is now can be now seen in the museum, the Alcatraz East Museum, if you're in the US. So you can see the actual car and take pictures with it. But those fragments, they were taken from the car. And since he killed a few of his victims inside the car, this is another object, the vial that you can see. It's another object that has some soul also in it. So,
and probably at least a little bit of DNA from different victims.
Yeah, probably too. Yeah.
And from Ted, which is kind of gross.
Yeah. But we were talking about Danny Rowling. I'm going to show you something else. This is grave soil from his tomb. So he was buried behind the prison. Okay.
Oh. And
it's actually the prison where Ted Bundy was executed. So you can actually see the plaque where is under which his body is lying, and this is grave soil from his grave. So grave soil is always really effective when you are working, for example, on Ouija boards. I also make Ouija boards, and I incorporate stuff like that from the killers, so that people can actually invoke the spirits of the serial killers through the Ouija board. There's a person who has used it for a seance, and he on the inside the Ouija board there was fragments from Ted's car, and he got the name Rose.
I remember this.
Yeah, and Rose is actually Ted's the name of Ted's daughter, and he didn't even know it. So I think that those boards that I'm making with objects that are connected to true crime and serial killers, they're actually quite effective.
Really beautiful Ouija boards, and when I've got the money, I'll shoot you some money over so I can get one. Do you still? I can't remember this exactly, but Nico, do you still put your own essence into it? Because I remember, I think you said in an old video that you occasionally put your own blood inside the boards as well.
I do a lot of blood art actually, because I like to, paintings are an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
They have a life of their own. For example, sometimes I hear from paintings that I've done 20 years ago, and the person tells me, oh yeah, it's still sitting in my living room, and oh no, I sold it to a museum, and now it's in that museum. Or the painting has a life of its own, and I like the idea of actually having my DNA on it. Plus, blood, of course, is the vessel of the soul. So, as a blood artist, I think it's more than just art. It's also a very powerful ritualistic tool, and it's an artifact.
Like I remember when I bought the Cannibal Cookbook from you, which I do have right here, which I have had a good read and tasty. But then
vegan friendly, no animals were harmed.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that. My cats are still alive, just so you guys know.
Good to know.
Yeah, but whenever I was looking back through it, just giving it a read, there was a random thought which did pop into my head, which is related to what you just said, which is for anybody who hasn't seen this, I have shown this before on YouTube, where it's got your thumbprint on the inside. So when you're saying that your art is a lot of an extension of yourself, that made me think, even if somebody is still alive, do you think that maybe blood can carry sort of the essence of that person and maybe some kind of energy whilst they're still alive?
Definitely. 100%. You have the communion in church. You are drinking the essence, the blood of Christ. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a belief that the blood of Christ carries his soul.
Yes.
So the soul, the blood, whether it's from a person who is living or is dead, has the same power.
Well, it's like I mean, obviously there are rituals that took place in different cultures and different tribes in years, decades, centuries past, and obviously to drain somebody completely of their blood before drinking it, whether it be animal or human, is to take on that life force. And that was a belief held by many different cultural systems and a lot of different belief systems and rituals. But I mean, you're still taking on some life force and some energy by taking, I mean, that's why blood play is popular in certain communities, S&M community, and as a ritualistic thing in different belief systems and rituals, because there is a definite energy associated. But obviously some cultures, that in the past, they drain entire animals of their blood. And we've heard of stories where humans were completely drained of their blood because you're taking 100% of their life force that way. So you're invoking more power, if you will. But there's definitely life force to be taken from even a small amount of blood from whatever creature or person.
That's
we're talking about blood. We're talking about grave soil. Those were traditionally used by voodoo and shamans, because we tend to forget in Europe that before having witches, we had shamans. The Celts had shamans, and the Northern tribes had shamans. It's deeply rooted in our spirituality. Shamanism is not only about South America, and it's also a huge part of the of ancient Russia and Siberia. For example, there are still shamans in Siberia, and shamanic magic is one of the most powerful magics ever. And this is what they use. They use blood, they use bones, they use hair, all those very primitive material, and very organic.
The physical essence of the being.
Exactly. It's very organic. And when you're talking about using the blood of somebody who's still alive, of course, it is very, very powerful. Whether it's hair or blood, it's the soul of the person is trapped in the object.
There's like a part of me, almost.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not necessarily a bad thing for the person who gives his blood or his hair or etc. The important is that the energy flows. For me, that's how I see it, and that's why I use my blood in my paintings. I want my energy to flow, to travel the world, to go to Japan, to San Francisco, because I cannot be physically there, but it goes there.
No one's traveling right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's a form of empowerment when you're an artist, and knowing that, and you're using your blood and even other bodily fluids. I don't do it, but some people do. It's really powerful.
Exactly.
Speaking of a grave soil, I want to show you this too. This was taken in the same prison as Danny Rawlings' grave dirt, and this time it's Otis Toole's grave dirt, another serial killer, who, according to me, was much more lethal than his partner in crime, Henry Lee Lucas. Probably killed more people than Lucas. There's another thing I want to show you. This you can find on several websites. It's dirt from Gacy's crawl space. So this is the kind of object too that has a lot of energy attached to it. And you can easily imagine why. I have to show you this, of course.
Don't forget the most important thing.
There's this. This is really impressive. You can see.
The Black Dahlia, Elizabeth Short.
Exactly. This soil was taken on the location where her body was found. Now there are buildings, apartments, little houses, but the gardens are still there, and this dirt was taken in one of the gardens, the exact location where she was found.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of Elizabeth Short here too. We might do a seance based on Elizabeth Short. That would be interesting. Hollywood. Movies.
A lot of stuff went down.
Was she the victim of a producer, of somebody who shot a snuff movie? You don't know. We were watching the Brian De Palma movie 2 days ago, and the movie isn't really about Black Dahlia.
It doesn't really focus on the case. It's kind of like Titanic doesn't focus on the ship sinking. It kind of focuses on two people.
But there's so many theories, and so the best would be to ask her. Another object. This is an object I really love, because this is a tie. Okay.
I think I know what this is, but go on.
This was worn in court in 1980. I think it was 9 or 8. I have to check. By the Night Stalker. Richard Ramirez. So I got this from a museum in Indianapolis. They got this from Doreen Ramirez. It's when Doreen sold lots of objects that belonged to Richard after he died.
She suddenly decided, oh, maybe he really did those things.
Yeah. Well, she didn't want the objects around anymore, and she needed the cash. So. But yeah, that tie was part of a costume. I know the person who actually owns the costume. I own the tie. He owns the costume. He still he wants the tie, but I'm not gonna sell it.
No.
And the interesting thing with this object is that I used to wear it when I was working in the morgue. So I was wearing a suit, and I was wearing this tie. And I don't know. It's just the fact that I was giving it a second life. It's really that makes it really special.
I'm sure there's something you can feel, but what was it like? Your emotions, like, what were you feeling as soon as you put knowing I have on Richard Ramirez's tie? Like, what did you feel?
It was funny because at the same time I was writing a biography of Richard Ramirez for my publishing company. It's called Camion Noir. I publish true crime books in French for the French market. And I was working on the book, wearing the tie. So yeah, there was a connection, definitely a connection. The book is really violent.
That much closer in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And the book itself, it's the perspective I have on the book is the murders are committed through his eyes. So the descriptions of the murders are described as if he were describing them.
Yeah.
Like I did this, I did that, etc. It's really graphic, and I think that the tie definitely helped me find the energy. This could be the plot of a movie. I mean, this would be better than.
What are you listening?
But yeah, no, it definitely got a second life when I was wearing it in the morgue, and I was feeling that energy all the time. I wore it for about 3 or 4 years, and lots of stuff happened in the morgue during that 4 years period. So yeah, maybe it was caused by this tie. I don't know, but it definitely has soul. Yeah. There's one last thing. It's not really true crime related, but it's interesting too.
It's a little piece of history.
So it's a vial. As you can see, there's bits of painting inside the vial, right? I found those bits and pieces on the floor of an abandoned house in Sicily, in a coastal town called Cefalù. And in that house, in the 1930s, there was a very, very famous English person who lived there. People used to call him the Great Beast 666. Others would call him the most evil man on earth. Of course, I'm talking about Aleister Crowley. So those bits of painting were actually painted by Aleister Crowley. He painted them in a room that he called the Room of Nightmares. You can Google that too. You will see the actual paintings. They are completely crumbling because the roof is wide open, and there's it's really it's too bad because it's really in a bad shape. The house, it's probably in less than 10 years it would be demolished. So I picked up those bits and pieces of paint, and I can tell that they have an intense vibration. They were part of a ritual. They were part of a room that Crowley used for his sex magic rites.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have soul to those bits and pieces of painting. The only thing I told you is about wearing Richard's tie.
Yeah.
Was working the morgue. Those 4 years when I was wearing that tie, I don't know if it was connected to the fact that I was wearing that tie. but I experienced lots of ups and downs in that morgue, and it came to a point where I had to quit. So I don't know if it was related, but at the same time, I was feeling really good wearing it.
Yeah.
I also believe that, it just depends on the nature of the person who's owning the actual objects. And for a person like me who's, raised in the darkness, having those objects, they make me feel at peace because I connect with them.
Yeah.
And if I had like an object belonging to, I don't know, Mother Teresa in my home, maybe I wouldn't feel good.
That'll never happen, by the way.
Yeah, but you never know. And if I had an object belonging to the Dalai Lama, maybe I would, start to levitate and puke all over and speak in tongues. You don't know. See, because it's not my nature.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Having those objects, they are in harmony with my deep spiritual core. So I feel good having them around me, and I don't feel any kind of negative energy. And of course, put one single particle of any of those objects in any Christian home, they will go nuts and they will do Hollywood movies on how they had to exercise their home for centuries.
Satanic panic.
Yeah, exactly. It would be a Ed and Warren, kind of conjuring thing. But for me, no. It just, it's something I am in peace with.
All right, thank you so much, you two. I do appreciate it, and obviously, thanks to everybody who's watching this later on in the future. Yeah. I'll see you guys soon. Obviously, I hope we can do this again at some point.
Yeah.
You bet.
But now you two need to get some sleep.
Yeah.
All right. I'll speak to you guys very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.